Welcome back, Honestman, here with the Capricorn Cup Group A final. Looks like this air groove they have is number 1. And a Bakushin as number 2. I don't know that I'm going to have a whole lot of interesting things to say for this video. I'm just going to quickly breeze through the competition. This is the number 1 air groove. Looks like very good stats. Reasonable. They must be running pace here. Yeah, it's a pace groove. And we have a very strong Curren-chan as well. As well as a pretty formidable Bakushin. For my team, Condor Pasa has been my ace. Snowy days, I just had nothing better to buy with the points. That's all I could afford. One thing I do want to highlight is hesitant pace. This is something that became apparent. There's such a strong bias towards pace on this cup. Seemed like there was an edge towards debuffing pace. And you might say, well, what's one debuff going to do? Probably not much. But when you have it on 2 people, and you have it on 3 people, and then one of those people also has intense gaze, maybe it's enough to move the needle. So I built this King Halo specifically at end closer, just to get intense gaze and act as a little bit of a debuffer. They're also not completely garbage. We'll look at the record at the end. They actually did win a race. And that's maybe more a testament to the random nature of this cup than anything. And then my late air groove here, number 3 favorite. Going for ending speed with Emperor. Core accelerations are, well, gamble accelerations on your left and no stopping me. So this is, and a nice array of skills down here. This is not a good track for no stopping me, just in terms of the track configuration, but there's such a huge bias towards the front, and that's not to say front runners, but pace and front, that like 90% of the racers are going to be in that pack. So as a late surger, there ends up being so much body traffic in front of you anyway that it makes it easier to rely on no stopping me. In theory, at least. That's why I ended up going with it here. I definitely do not like it on pace for this track though, so I did not build Pasa with no stopping me. One thing that became apparent is that, once I realized that Condor Pasa was my ace, I needed to get people out of her way. I had a Bakshino at one point in time, and what I was finding with my Bakushin was either she was so strong that she was taking away position from Pasa, or she was weaker than Pasa and could just never win. And neither one of those was good for like how the team was working with itself. So that's why I ultimately decided to just get her out of the way entirely and went with an end closer Halo instead. Just to try to give Pasa as much of an edge as I can in terms of a positioning battle to try and hit first or second. So I think that's going to be the extent of my yapping on this one. Those are kind of my thoughts as this team evolved and how I landed on this particular configuration. We'll pull the slot machine lever and see how we do.
This 勝ち上がってきた精鋭による頂上決戦。 カプリコーン杯決勝。現在1番人気はここまで無敗トリプルティアラの馬娘、2番エアグルーヴ。この評価は少し不満か。2番人気はこの子、ここまで無敗2大スプリント覇者、7番桜爆心号。注目のグランプリ馬娘エルコンドルパサー、4枠4番での出走。
火花散らすデッドヒートに期待しましょう。
各馬娘ゲートに入って体勢整いました。さあゲートが開いた。各馬娘綺麗なスタートを切りました。
これは位置取りが熾烈になりそうですね。
先行争いは7番桜爆心号、2番エアグルーヴ。カレンちゃん期待通りの結果を出せるか。1番人気2番エアグルーヴ、7番桜爆心号。早くも先頭に躍り出た。2番手の位置で先頭を伺うのは待機シャトル。その後5番エアグルーヴ、4番手カレンちゃん、2番エアグルーヴ。追走。第4コーナーを進んで直線へ向かう。
これが女帝の力だ。
馬娘たちがどう動くか目が離せません。
さあいよいよ直線だ。どのタイミングで誰が仕掛けるのか。エルコンドルパサー前を狙っているぞ。2番エアグルーヴ、内で様子を伺う。4着を切りました。最終コーナー先陣を切ったのは7番桜爆心号。並び越してきたのは6番エアグルーヴ。残り200、6番エアグルーヴ。足色を衰えない。先頭6番エアグルーヴ。しかしそのパワーか。6番エアグルーヴ、1着でゴールイン。実力を遺憾なく発揮しレースを制した。勝ったのは6番エアグルーヴ。この大舞台を見事勝利しカプリコーン杯を制しました。2着7番桜爆心号。
聞こえるかこの歓声。これが理想というものだ。
So there we go. Air Groove actually pulled it off. She did hit a timely no stopping me, so that actually worked. And you could see all the debuffs go off at the final straight there. 1 1/4 length win. I don't know if all those debuffs stacked up to that difference. They might have. Intense Gaze absolutely went off. Definitely had Hesitant Pace in play. My Pasa got absolutely blown out of the water. And here, as I mentioned earlier, Pasa was really my ace throughout this tournament. Over 40% win rate, 33 wins. I had a ton of churn in my team setup, way more than any other tournament so far. And as I mentioned, I was working through a Bakshino. This one, I felt like it was just too weak. She was just too weak. So she would just finish behind Pasa and just kind of pointless. So then I switched into this Bakushin, who is strong enough to win, but not strong enough to be dominant. So a lot of times she would just steal position from Pasa and then they'd both lose. And that's when I pivoted into this King Halo. Not a great stat line, quite frankly, but her primary function was just to act as debuffer. You know, the fact that she was able to pull off a win at all was kind of amazing. And then my late Air Groove, who got win number 12 in the final. Did not see that coming. But there we go, Capricorn Cup, Group A final, bringing home the gold. Good luck in your races. Thank you all so much. Please like and subscribe. This has been Honestman, and I'll see you next time.